Today I want to talk a little bit about education. Education is one of the basic things that we talk about in American Business Women and how important we think it is. I seem to be seeing a trend which kind of concerns me in society. Seems to indicate that the price of an education is not worth it these days. There's ads about it, about how some basic training can earn more money and things like that. So I just want to give my opinion and a few things to think about in the world of education. First of all, I don't think there's any doubt that education is important. How many times have we heard where someone was in a job interview or at a business where they're looking at several candidates? Your education can be one of the factors that certainly makes whether you receive a position or not applicable. That can make all the difference. Just looking, if all candidates are the same, someone's got a bachelor's, somebody's got a master's, or someone doesn't have an education, a formal education, that may make all the difference. So there's no doubt that this has to be seen as something that's important. Second of all, I think that education, whether you get an associate, a bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate, speaks for itself. How many times have you gone into someone's office, their diploma's hanging on the wall, and how much more confident do you feel when you see that somebody has that kind of background, depending on what kind of services you're asking for? And also, it's something you can add on to. Personally, my experience is I didn't do any of this the easy way. Go to college right after high school and did it. I did an associate's. Then after I had 2 children, I went and got my bachelor's. My children were in high school and college when I went and got my law degree. So I can tell you that having an education is something you can always add on to. And along with that, I would tell you it's never too late. People who talk to me and say, oh, I wish I had gone to college and gotten this type of degree or this kind of certification, but I just didn't have time, or I think it's too late. I don't think it's ever too late. It's never too late if that is one of your goals. Goals are something that are personal, they're achievable, and they have to be planned for. If that is something that's one of your goals, don't ever think it's too late. The next point I would make is your education, whatever it is your asset. I can tell you as a divorce attorney, I have never had to value somebody's education in the split of assets. That is your asset. That is not something your spouse or anybody else can ever take away from you or get part of. That is your asset in life if you choose to pursue that. And I would tell you it's also not necessary to look at it as, oh, this is absolutely must be a 4-year commitment. I think lots of people get an associate's and go down the path they look at and are very happy with it. I think other people get certifications and are very happy with it. It all depends on what your goal is, what you want your achievement to be, but I think it's whatever you want to do. But I don't want anyone discouraged and reading this new trend of ads like that a diploma and a college education is not something that they should pursue. It's always something you should pursue if it's indeed something you want. I can tell you certifications are just as important. So, whether it's a diploma, again, a diploma on the wall that shows you're a certified mediator. I'm a certified mediator. I'm a CPA. I've got a law degree. Those are all personal to me. It's not me bragging to my clients. Those were my goals. Those were my achievements. And nobody can take that away from me. So whatever your goal is, it doesn't have to be all of that. It can be a part of it. You should be very proud and you should go for those things. And I think we've always got to keep in mind one of the Stephen Covey basics. We've always got to sharpen the saw. So no matter what kind of college education you have or don't have, we've all got to look to educate ourselves, stay up in our trade, keep those skills sharpened. That's what's going to make the difference also. And I think you've also got to look at it as education as go in there with a plan, but be ready to modify. How many times have you heard of people who got an education in a certain thing and then found out they just hated it? Somebody gets a accounting degree and says, oh, now I want to be a psychologist. Something completely different. Well, you probably hated it from the second semester on. Maybe instead of going through with that, that was time to modify. I like to go back to some of my previous videos about planning. You know, here we're about to get to Super Bowl time. Every quarterback plans to hit those 7 points every time they get the possession of the ball. Sometimes you've just got to take the punt. So in your educational plans, be ready to punt if you find that the course you started on is not what's going to make you happy, because that makes a big difference in your life and what your education means to you. And again, don't be afraid to do it unconventionally. Unconventionally works. I probably should have always been a lawyer, but I probably wouldn't be as good a lawyer if I hadn't first had the first job I did in the corporate world. It gave me some real life experience that makes a difference in what I do. So, things to think about for education. Education's important. Education, if that's in your plan, don't back away from it. It's something you should go for. My student loans will be paid off this year after 10 years of paying a mortgage almost for a law degree, but I still feel it was worth it. So, have a good week. Make a difference in somebody's life this week.